Tonight on 7 News, shutdown powers hope new laws can bring an end to Melbourne's tobacco turf wars. Why did it take so long?
Thanks, but no thanks. 3 more Iranian footballers backtrack on offers of asylum and head home to the war zone.
A Preston auto shop firebombed. Customers' cars, collateral damage.
Queen Mary stuns in her official Australian homecoming.
Hollywood rolls out the red carpet on the eve of the Oscars. 4 Aussies in the running.
And we're live to the Demons' rooms after a thriller at the G. Scott Pendlebury is suspended for the first time in his career.
This is 7 News with Mike Amor and Karina Carvalho.
Good evening. The Allen government is threatening to shut down businesses and send rogue operators to jail in a bid to smoke out Melbourne's illegal tobacco trade.
Industry leaders are backing the move, but the opposition claims it's a knee-jerk reaction after a botched crackdown.
The latest weapon in the government's fight to extinguish Melbourne's tobacco turf war, the power to shut down dodgy shops.
The message should be very clear. If you're involved in this illicit trade, there will be tough new penalties.
Under proposed reforms, inspectors would be granted powers to close stores selling black market cigarettes for 90 days. Landlords would be given permission to kick illegal operators out, and those who knowingly lease stores to those doing the wrong thing will face big fines.
Today's announcement by the Allen Labor government is an admission of failure that they've botched the tobacco laws. Why has it taken this government so long to act?
We've been working closely with industry to get our settings right, but I think it's never too late.
14 inspectors will be responsible for shutdowns statewide with the help of police. Many have already been subject to threats.
You've got 14 inspectors having to go up against bikies and thugs.
They need at least 100 dedicated officers to be targeting this.
The new regime would also give inspectors the power to destroy seized tobacco before a case even reaches court, a move the government argues would help stop illegal products being recirculated and speed up prosecutions.
The cigarette trade continues to flourish. Inspectors seized $5 million worth of tobacco in the first month of enforcement, but the Treasurer has shut down calls to pour water on the fire, ruling out cuts to the federal excise.
$10 billion is at stake for these crime groups, and they're not going to give it up easily. They're going to move this underground.
And Rochelle Brown, the AFL's been caught up in an election year storm involving opposition leader Jess Wilson.
Well, Mike, the AFL has been accused of playing politics in an election year. This 30-second video from the stands of the MCG during last week's Collingwood-St Kilda game is at the centre of the drama. The opposition leader received a takedown notice last week stating it included a snippet of match footage in violation of league copyright rules. The notice was penned by the AFL's government relations manager, who reports to the general manager, a former CFMEU spin doctor. The video called out alleged CFMEU corruption. In a twist, the AFL now says the takedown order was never authorised and the request should never have been made. Mike?
State political reporter Rochelle Brown. Rochelle, thank you.
To news just in, a vape is being blamed for a mid-air drama forcing emergency services to be placed on standby at Melbourne Airport this afternoon. Virgin Australia flight VA328 from Brisbane made an emergency call to the tower at Tullamarine as it approached after a vape ignited on board the aircraft. Firefighters and paramedics were called as a precaution. The Boeing 737 landed safely and taxied to the gate where passengers were able to disembark normally. An auto repair shop has been targeted in a pre-dawn firebombing at Preston. Half a dozen cars were damaged or destroyed, some belonging to customers.
Explosions at sunrise. Arsonists leave their mark on a Preston mechanic.
The intensity, I had to kind of block my eyes looking over at the fire.
Those responsible arrived in a silver sedan, backing in as 2 hooded figures break in. Smashing up several cars, then pouring fuel across the yard before setting the vehicles alight. The blaze spread quickly, triggering explosion after explosion. Within 5 minutes, their hit job complete, the cars left to melt.
Variation of Holdens, Mazdas, at least 3 cars written off, but damage to approximately 6 cars.
Some of which are believed to have belonged to customers. This morning, detectives combed through the crime scene, followed by forensics, while those who run the shop watched on. Staff have now been allowed back into the business as they try to figure out the damage bill. They made no comment to 7 News, but told neighbours they have no idea why they were targeted. As police still search for the arsonists.
I hope they can live with themselves. Because, you know, what good is it?
Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
A 17-year-old boy has been charged over a crash that left his mate dead in Hoppers Crossing. He's accused of driving a stolen car packed with 7 teens and chasing down, then ramming an innocent motorist. The stolen car crashed into 2 other vehicles and rolled, killing a 15-year-old boy. The older teen is facing multiple charges, including culpable driving causing death, and has been remanded in custody.
3 more players from the Iranian women's soccer team have decided to return to their war-torn homeland after initially seeking asylum here. Tonight, Iran has lashed out, calling Australia the enemy and accusing our federal government of psychological warfare.
Torn between 2 worlds, the Iranian women's soccer team is in transit in Malaysia. As 3 more lionesses change their minds, deciding to leave Australia after seeking asylum.
I hope they're okay.
Mona Hamoudi, Zara Sabali and Zara Mashinka arriving in Kuala Lumpur this morning.
I am worried about them. I can only imagine the pressure that they feel and how difficult these sorts of decisions would be for them.
Iran biting back, calling this a disgraceful failure of the American Australia project and another failure for Trump. The national spirit and patriotism of the Iranian women's football team defeated the enemy's plans. Returning to the warm embrace of their families and homeland, the girls resisted psychological warfare, extensive propaganda and seductive offers.
They are not an honest broker. They are not a good faith actor. They are an evil leadership regime. Of course they would say seductive offers. Freedom would be very seductive for people who, of course, have lived under this tyrannical regime, especially women.
Iranian state TV labelled the Lionesses wartime traitors after the team refused to sing their national anthem. Activists believe they were threatened.
They did kidnap their family and they threatened their family.
Of the 7 lionesses who wanted asylum, just 3 remain here. But whether they'll follow their teammates back to Iran or stay and commit to their lives in Australia is unclear. Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
Donald Trump is demanding allies use their warships to protect a key oil route in the Middle East. He promises to bomb the hell out of the area, but Iran is also ramping up attacks on neighbours.
Week 3 of the war. The US intensifies its campaign and Iran promises more revenge. Trading blows, here attacking the US embassy in Baghdad, now accusing Gulf states of joining the war.
They have done it from the soil of our neighbors.
Swiftly punishing Dubai, drones targeting oil terminals in the financial district, declaring they're coming after US companies, American hideouts. Payback too for the US bombing of Karg Island, Iran's most crucial oil hub. From Donald Trump overnight, a new call to arms. Hopefully China, France, Japan, South Korea, the UK will send ships to the Hormuz Strait, he posted. In the meantime, the United States will be bombing the hell out of the shoreline. Iran's reply demands for America to leave the Gulf entirely or the war goes on. The besieged nation continuing to bury military commanders and carry out rescue missions for civilian survivors. We just dug out 5 family members, he says. And in Lebanon, the suffering continues as Israel hunts for Hezbollah, the UN chief in Beirut, pushing for peace talks.
The diplomatic avenues are available.
12 medics reportedly killed.
It's deeply concerning that health services are not being respected and protected.
Australian agency boss Lou Cormack worried too for Australians in country.
There are a lot of Australians in Lebanon.
Israel releasing video, it says, of Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon's south as its forces continue raiding and destroying enemy strongholds. The Hezbollah leader taunting Israel, even as their rockets rain down around him. Complicating matters, sandstorms and 100-kilometre-an-hour winds, reducing visibility, disrupting aircraft operations and making dangerous missions even more fraught. As Israel and Lebanon were blanketed and Gaza, with its tented population, was hammered, the faces of the 6 crew killed in the refueler crash, a likely mid-air collision in congested airspace. Images that will ratchet the political pressure on President Trump over a war with no end in sight.
Let's go live to Chris Reason in Tel Aviv. Chris, Donald Trump claims Iran has reached out with a peace deal.
Good evening to you, Mike. US President Donald Trump has spoken with our affiliate media partners NBC in an exclusive interview, telling them that they had made some proposals, some terms on a deal, but he's rejected those as simply not good enough yet. Mr. Trump went on to say that he doubted whether or not the new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, was even alive. And on the subject of the war itself and strikes, he said that key facilities on that Karg Island, that critical oil terminal for Iran, had been completely demolished. But he went on to say, we may hit it a few more times just for fun, unquote. Mike?
Chris Reason. Chris, thank you.
Our very own Queen Mary of Denmark has been visibly moved by her first look at Uluru with husband King Frederick.
The royal says she's excited to be home as she embarks on a 6-day state visit. The next stop, Melbourne.
Royalty in the Red Centre. A king and queen almost incognito in the outback, exploring everything Uluru has to offer, even some local bush tucker.
We just had some ants with honey ants, and that was quite good. It was a breakthrough.
Their sunrise tour catching plenty off guard. Greeted by Anangu elders and welcomed by a traditional ceremonial dance. Wearing an akubra, red dirt beneath their boots, the couple then took in the Uluru view at sunset, marking their first state visit down under since their rise to the Danish throne 2 years ago.
It's been a really great start to what will be an exciting visit here.
But for Queen Mary, this is also a welcome trip home.
It's absolutely great to be home. We've been so much looking forward to the visit.
As the sun sets on Their Majesty's first night of their Australian tour, this trip isn't just a chance to show off Australia's best tourism attractions, but also forge stronger business ties between the two countries.
A 55-person corporate delegation joining this state visit alongside the Danish press pack, with the tour set to visit Canberra, Melbourne and, of course, Mary's hometown of Hobart.
She is just feeling home here and she is feeling relaxed and the King is too. I think you can see it.
A relaxed return home for Australia's very own homegrown Queen. In Uluru, Taylor Aiken, 7 News.
Footy fans claim they're being ripped off as members are forced to pay for tickets as seats go empty. This as the new D's boss unveils plans to shake up the matchday experience at the MCG.
Applying pressure on the league.
We're calling on the AFL to explain to us, to explain to fans, what triggers a fully ticketed game.
There have been 3 in the first 7 games of the season, the matches well below capacity, forcing members to fork out even more for a seat.
We pay a lot for membership each year, why should we?
That's not very Australian.
It feels a bit like a cash grab. One fan said it was $60, another fan said it was $30.
The Fans Association plans to raise it with the AFL. It says it's already on the ball.
It is something that we are acutely aware of, and we work with our clubs and with the venues to make sure that our game can remain affordable and accessible.
You just need to be careful because the fans are the biggest stakeholder in this game. Don't take them for granted.
Also not wanting to be taken for granted are die-hard Melbourne supporters as the club moves to engage new fans with more NBA-style entertainment.
It's a bit too noisy and a bit too American, I'm afraid.
I'm a traditionalist, but I'm not the future.
Melbourne says it's all about entertainment this year, kicking off with a song after each goal.
I think results on the scoreboard gets people there more than theatrics.
You might be getting new fans in this way and losing fans out that way.
One thing's clear for the red and blue.
We need more asses on seats.
Sarah Jones, 7 News.
Well, the song seemingly worked. We've just seen a thriller for the first Sunday afternoon of footy at the G. Theo Doropoulos, the Demons, they got home in a close one.
Yeah, a few more of those things on seats after what happened this afternoon, Karina. They kicked off their season in great style with a 13-point win over the Saints, who are now 0-2 to start their campaign. Their off-season spending spree failing to pay early dividends. But let's get straight to Chief Footy reporter Mitch Cleary, who's in the Demons' rooms. Mitch, Stephen King's reign's off to a flyer.
Theo, genuine excitement inside these rooms. A win for the new regime, and a man who was pivotal in the last quarter was the skipper, Max Gawn. Max, it's much nicer doing this after a win.
Yeah, it is. We've had a pretty good pre-season. We felt pretty bullish coming into today. We feel like our best can match it. I mean, you never really know that. That's a great thing about round one. I was driving in with my wife today and I still didn't know if I could play footy. It's the fun thing about round one. You just don't know what you're going to get, and today was pretty exciting. We're able to see Jacob Van Rooyen stay forward, not ruck, and you can see what he can do. We're able to see the Cosy and Latrell. Colton, I thought, actually did a really good job, even though Nass got a couple of goals in the end. And then our back three, back six even. So some pretty cool things to work on.
What sort of confidence will a young group get being able to perform on the big stage like that?
Yeah, just under 50 at the G, home game, and we get to go over against a side that everyone's tipping to win it in Freo. There's not much more momentum you want than beating St Kilda out here.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the win.
Thanks, Mitch.
There you have it. The latest from the skipper, Max Gawn. In sport, we'll go inside the Saints rooms and have all the fallout. They're 0-2 for season 2026.
Thanks very much, Mitch and Max. Also coming up in sport, the Kangaroos spring to life, starting the season with a bang against the Power. And a first time for everything in football. Magpies champion Scott Pendlebury in hot water, and disaster for Oscar Piastri again. Stuck in the garage for the Chinese Grand Prix. Maybe he just couldn't find the keys.
Oh, dear.
What a disaster.
Okay. The joke or Oscar?
Thank you both. Thank you. High-profile media executive Anthony Catalano says he's headed to rehab as he faces shock assault allegations. The latest live next.
Also coming up, a tanker crash sparks a freeway fireball.
Hollywood rolls out the red carpet. 4 Aussies in the running for Oscar's glory.
Later, the impact of so-called dirty fuel, plus your chance to win in our free fuel giveaway.
Plus, I'm live from St Kilda tonight at the annual St Patrick's Day Festival, which is why everyone is here in green. I'll see you shortly with the forecast.
Media boss Anthony Catalano says he's deeply ashamed and will check into rehab after an alleged attack on a woman in a luxury Melbourne apartment. Jacqueline Stanley's at police headquarters for us, and Jack, we're learning more details.
Mike, 7 News understands Catalano had been out to dinner in the hours leading up to the alleged attack. Late that evening, police say the 59-year-old assaulted a woman in his luxury penthouse apartment in St Kilda. The father of 9 says he's struggling with significant substance abuse and mental health issues, vowing to check into a rehab facility. The victim is now recovering from a fractured tailbone after he allegedly dragged her around the apartment by her hair and ankles, threatening her with a clothes iron too. He was charged with assault, false imprisonment and making threats to kill. He's now on extended leave from his role as Australian Community Media Chairman. The company this evening saying its board and executive team are shocked and deeply concerned by the allegations, and that they understand claims will be distressing and confronting for staff. Catalano is due back in court in May.
Jack, thank you.
There were towering flames on a highway in Kentucky when a truck carrying fuel collided with a car. The crash produced a fireball and multiple explosions, forcing other drivers to veer out of the way. Incredibly, the woman and her 2 children inside the car escaped with only minor injuries. The driver of the truck wasn't hurt.
In less than 24 hours, 4 Australians could claim cinema's biggest honour, the Oscars.
Tonight, the final preparations are underway for Hollywood's biggest night.
The Dolby Theatre in Hollywood is almost red carpet ready. Final touches are underway, the props literally rolling in, and the stand-ins committed to the bit, rehearsing the walk before the real stars take over the Oscars. Hollywood heartthrob Jacob Elordi nominated for his portrayal of the creature in Frankenstein. Aussie actress Rose Byrne is nominated for her starring role in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
And you would not believe.
Fiona Crombie nominated for production design in Hamnet, and Nick Cave for Best Original Song in Train Dreams.
Crazy dreams that go on for hours, and I can't begin to tell you how that feels.
The Oscars caps off a busy awards season. For an actor, winning here cements their place in Hollywood history. The major award, Best Picture, is looking like a 2-horse race between the favourite One Battle After Another and the vampire thriller Sinners. Sinners has a record 16 nominations and could cause an upset. And we all know Hollywood loves a plot twist. In Los Angeles, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
The Oscars are live, free and only on 7 and 7 Plus tomorrow. It all begins with sunrise from 5:30 a.m. Miley will bring you all the stars from the red carpet.
Our own star, Tyra Stowers, joins us now from St Kilda. And Tyra, it felt like summer again.
Oh, how nice was it, Mike? We're a few degrees above our average with plenty of sunshine today, but the clouds have just started to roll in, as you can see, except there was still great conditions for the St Patrick's Day Festival here in St Kilda. Now, the free event is back for its 7th year with everything from live music, Irish dancing and even a dog show. Up to 7,000 families have come to soak up the celebration of Irish folk, country and contemporary sounds, as you can probably hear behind me. And of course, there's the delicious Irish food, such as a spice bag, which I have learnt today. Now, we are likely to see some showers settle in to start our working week tomorrow. I'll be back later in the hour with all those details in your full forecast. Mike and Karina.
To be sure, to be sure.
Thanks, Tyra. War in the Middle East has petrol prices surging. Up next, the impact of so-called dirty fuel on your car. Plus, your chance to win in our $20,000 fuel giveaway.
Also, your medical scans being sent overseas, while the imaging industry says patients have nothing to worry about.
We're live to Canberra for one of the most formal events of Queen Mary's royal homecoming.
And later, how doctors at the Royal Children's helped brave little Archie overcome an ultra-rare medical condition. Welcome back. Victorians could soon be forking out hundreds more a month, with the Treasurer warning inflation could climb towards 5%.
The nation's leaders have called emergency roundtables to address the impact of record high fuel prices on families.
From the battlefield to the Bowser, for the first time, a state government is stepping into the fuel fight.
Fair trading will double its visits, more than double its visits to petrol stations.
New South Wales with its own compliance crackdown, convening a roundtable on Monday with ministers, mayors and industry representatives to discuss supply impacts.
And the National Oil Emergency Committee will obviously be informed.
Tonight, across the country, prices continue to climb, with more evidence of price gouging emerging.
That's obviously an unacceptable development, and so the ACCC has hauled in the suppliers and the retailers.
The federal government doubling the maximum fine for those who are caught from $50 to $100 million.
We'll legislate that as soon as we can.
Another strategy to increase supply, releasing so-called dirty fuel, allowing it to be blended into the supply for the next 60 days, expected to inject an additional 100 million litres of fuel a month. Dirty fuel is petrol with more sulphur than normal, and if used over a long amount of time, it can reduce fuel efficiency, increase emissions and cause issues inside your engine.
Look to use your car less, look for public transport, look for alternate supplies.
Because if the problem isn't tackled soon...
Rationing is an option. Now that's one with a lot of ramifications.
Paying the price for a conflict on the other side of the world. Sam Payne, 7 News.
And 7 News is giving away $20,000 of free fuel for your chance to win. Stay tuned for tonight's code word. It's just moments away. Police have smashed a major drug syndicate in Melbourne's east. Officers raided 11 properties around Box Hill, Blackburn and Nunawading, seizing more than $1.7 million worth of drugs. They found more than 430 cannabis plants, MDMA, cocaine and methamphetamine. Weapons, including 5 gun silencers and a machete, were also taken. 6 men, including 2 foreign nationals, have been charged.
A Spanish cyclist has lost her balance on a narrow ledge, plunging several metres down a sheer cliff. Her worried dog ran after her, checking she was okay. She was walking away with just a few scrapes and bruises.
Absolutely remarkable. The medical imaging industry is tonight defending its practices after a 7 News investigation revealed hospitals are sending scans overseas.
They insist the process is safe. Experts warn the real problem is a growing shortage of doctors.
Hospitals are increasingly relying on radiologists overseas to help manage a growing demand for scans, especially after hours. And while patient advocates are concerned, the industry is not.
Offshore radiology is very safe. The only difference between offshore radiology and radiology reported here is that the radiologist is located in a different time zone.
They say overseas doctors reading your scans must meet Australian standards.
All radiologists who are reporting Australian scans are registered in Australia and they've qualified in Australia and they're registered with APRA.
And say strict privacy protections apply.
Radiology providers use bank-level encryption technologies to ensure that patients' medical data is safe.
But doctors warn outsourcing scans is only a temporary fix to a much bigger problem, a shortage of specialists. They say the best care happens when clinicians work closely together.
We think that it's far better to have personnel that are readily accessible and nearby rather than necessarily reporting in some remote location away from where the clinical care is being delivered.
The Australian Medical Association warns that if the shortage isn't addressed and governments don't step in with extra funding for training, patients could face serious consequences.
People won't be able to get radiology reports done in a timely way, and obviously that will delay diagnoses and potentially cause people to suffer.
A system on life support. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Returning now to Queen Mary's royal tour, Isabel Mullen is live in Canberra. Izzy, one of the most formal occasions of the visit is underway there. The royal couple have just arrived.
They have Karina and Mike. Good evening. They touched down in Canberra a short time ago before arriving here at Government House, where they were greeted by the Governor-General, Sam Mostyn, the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and his wife, Jodie Hayden. A short time ago, we heard that 21-gun salute before the King was formally invited to inspect the Royal Guard of Honour. There is plenty of formalities tonight. Later, a state dinner before the Royals visit the Australian War Memorial tomorrow and Parliament House. They are not on the ground for long, just over 24 hours before this royal tour comes to you, visiting Melbourne next. Karina.
And no doubt a warm welcome awaits them here. Isabel Mullen in Canberra, thank you.
An American country music star has been forced to halt his Melbourne show after being struck in the head on stage. Details next.
Also ahead, he claimed to have stabbed his partner to death while sleepwalking. That's this week's Kiss and Kill investigation.
A drunk driver sparks a trail of destruction through a supermarket car park.
And an unusual hit and run in the heart of our nation's capital.
Fuel relief's here. This week, 7 News is giving away $20,000 worth of petrol nationwide. Jump onto 7news.com.au/free fuel now and enter tonight's code word ENGINE for your chance to win a $250 voucher. And be watching tomorrow for another chance to enter.
An American country music star has been struck in the face by a phone thrown by a fan at Margaret Court Arena. Riley Green briefly pulled the plug on the show as blood trickled down his neck. The fan responsible was immediately removed before Green resumed performing.
An allegedly drunk driver has spun out of control in a supermarket car park, ploughing into a row of cars in Sydney. Among the victims, a father and his newborn daughter.
Got a baby! As I was unclipping her, I could see in my peripherals this car just flying at me. So I had to jump out of the way. I thought she was actually going to, get crushed in that instant, which was terrifying.
No doubt, little Florence, though, was tossed out of her car seat, but is okay. Police say the 62-year-old driver was almost 6 times the limit.
A man who claimed to be sleepwalking when he stabbed his partner to death is thought to fit a subtype of narcissism that's difficult to detect.
Former friends of convicted murderer Anthony Erickson have come forward as part of Seven's Kiss and Kill investigation, describing a man who believed he was too good for everything.
59-year-old Lisa Fenwick, an editor and writer. Just before her death 3 years ago, she messaged friends telling them she was fearful of her partner Anthony Erickson.
Killed overnight, Easter, stabbed multiple times in the chest.
He said, we got into an argument. When asked again what happened, he told the operator, well, I put a knife into her.
Erickson was unemployed, his entire lifestyle funded by Lisa, who that day had asked him to move out.
He often used to say he was too good for everything, one of those people, I don't need to work, I'm too good for this, too good for that.
Erickson pleaded not guilty, saying he didn't intend to commit the offence because he was sleepwalking. In Australia, a person can't be found guilty if they were unconscious or asleep when a crime is committed. Victorian woman Ilkna Calliscan successfully applied this defence after fatally stabbing her husband while camping in 2023. Unlike other grandiose narcissistic killers we've profiled in this investigation, Erickson is thought to be what's called a vulnerable narcissist, characterised by a victim mentality and hypersensitivity, often socially withdrawing and using passive-aggressive manipulation. Erickson had meticulously isolated Lisa to such an extent few realised how controlling he was. He was sentenced to 26 years in jail last December.
They're in it for the control almost solely more than the relationship itself. And getting away from someone like that can be very, very difficult.
To listen, visit 7news.com.au/kiss and kill, download on the Listener app or wherever you get your podcasts. Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
A hot air balloon got a little too close for comfort, knocking a pair of kayakers into the water on Canberra's Lake Burley Griffin. Oh my, the kayakers were good sports about the unusual hit run, saying at least the water was warm. Okay, it wasn't July. Well, Theo's back with sport and we've been hit with the 20-year footy fest, Theo.
Something we didn't think we would see, Karina. Champion Pius got Pendlebury in hot water, but we haven't heard the last of it. We'll have details coming up next. Also ahead, hearts beating true at the MCG as the D's kick off the King's reign with a thriller. Also a moment to savour for the Kangaroos switching off the power at Marvel Stadium and failure to launch for Oscar's McLaren in China. Welcome back. The cash-splashing Saints have started 2026 0-2 after going down in a thriller to the D's. Stephen King's reign kicking off in stunning style with a debutant bouncing his way into the spotlight.
With last year's famous comeback fresh in their minds, this was the start that Melbourne fans were dreading.
Gets there.
Liam Ryan hit the scoreboard early, as did Jacob Van Rooyen, snaring 2 goals in a row, a sign of things to come for the afternoon.
Van Rooyen into the open goal, somehow from somewhere.
Soon after, Brodie Myercheck nailed his first goal as a Demon, but it's the other first goal that set the MCG alight.
Picking a bounce, a second, through the 50, a third bounce. Bring the house down, son, bring the house down.
The first of many for Latrell Pickett, Stephen King's first game starting to go to plan. Jacob Van Rooyen booting a whopping 5 goals to half-time. In reply, some Max Hall magic to create a small Saints margin.
That is a clever piece of goal kicking from Hall.
Matthias Filippo was sidelined after a knock to his quad, with his former skipper Jack Steele getting his moment in the sun.
They will get around him in a big way. Jack Steele kicks the goal.
As Flying Ryan lived up to his nickname.
Big fly over the top from Flying Ryan.
This mark paid, with the Saints recruit needing medical attention afterwards. On field, this was fast becoming an epic battle.
If he kicks this, he has produced magic.
Nasiah the Messiah took another hanger, his goal after clawing the Saints back. Max Hall kicked his fourth to make it a nail-biter, but it was the poise of the new-look D's that shone through.
Fritz to finish!
And didn't Stephen King love it? Xander Maguire, 7 News.
Start to the season. Now let's head straight to Mitch Cleary in the Saints rooms. Mitch, this one will certainly hurt.
Oh, Theo, another case of wasted opportunities here in the Saints rooms, and families are just making their way here into the rooms. They were kept outside as Ross Lyon debriefed with his players for about 10 or 15 minutes after that final siren. It won't get any easier. Next week they travel to face GWS before hosting the reigning premiers at Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. They are confident that Liam Ryan will be there to play the Giants next week, despite coming off with that shoulder injury in the second half, while Matthias Filippo now has 6 days to get over his corked thigh that saw him miss the entire second half. Ross Lyon about to face the music in his press conference. I'm sure he'll be asked why Nazai Wanganeen-Miller has spent more than 6 minutes off the ground in that final term when the game was on the line. Meantime, Scott Pendlebury has been suspended for the first time, incredibly, in 427 games. The match review officer today deeming that he chose to bump rather than brace in this head-high incident last night against Adelaide's Josh Worrell. The Pies are likely to take this to the tribunal. It's there where they can use the good bloke clause, the good record clause, something that Pendlebury, I'm sure, will lean on given it's a first suspension in those first 427 games. Here he is speaking on the coverage today.
Well, I guess there's a process in place now. I've never been in my career, this situation. So I'll let the process play out. And as you said, I haven't been on my phone, obviously working with the lovely people at Channel 7 today. So, we'll go through that process in due course.
And it's a nervous 24 hours for Sydney before their clash with Hawthorn next Thursday. Scans for Errol Goulden's shoulder and Isaac Heaney's hamstring. If the scans for Goulden come back negative, he's likely headed for surgery. Theo?
One to watch. Thank you very much, Mitch Cleary. A pumped-up Alistair Clarkson has thrown down the gauntlet after North Melbourne's blistering start to their season. The Roos thumped the Power at Marvel Stadium by 46 points, leaving the coach already demanding more.
Jubilant scenes like this for North fans have been few and far between. 1 from 1, a sky-high percentage after only 20 wins in the past 6 seasons. A moment to remember for a few reasons.
They were trying to ramp it up to get some more uncontested ball and some overlap on the footy that we didn't wilt in that space, and that allowed us to come away with a really, really pleasing win.
Oh, it's a great start to the year for us. It's super special. Everyone just played a part.
The skipper's part enormous, booting 4 in his first outing as North Melbourne captain. Not to be outdone, Cam Zerha also made sure it was the Roos day.
Let's put this in the book. Put it in the book.
But it was efforts like this that give you the feeling the worm is turning at Arden Street. Desperation and aggression turning a 25-point advantage at the main break to a commanding 43-point lead. As the future also took centre stage, McKercher, Sheasel, combining with Stevens, 29 touches and a goal, arguably the best game of his career.
From 45, nails it. Big moment.
We've got to do it for 23 weeks, not just for one. So that'll continue to be a great challenge for us.
The 46-point win building badly needed early season belief. Next up, the Eagles in Perth.
OK, Oscar Piastri's F1 season has gone from bad to worse at the Chinese Grand Prix. The Aussie was on the grid but had to be wheeled away before the formation lap. It's not yet known the reason why. Of course, it comes after his disaster in Melbourne last week, crashing out before the race had begun. McLaren teammate Lando Norris also didn't make it to the start line due to electrical problems. Mercedes teenager Kimi Antonelli started on pole and is currently still leading after 14 laps. Steph Cately and Hayley Raso are racing to return from concussion for the Matildas Asian Cup semi-final against China in Perth on Tuesday night. Coached by former Matildas boss Ante Milicic, the defending champs beat Taiwan 2-0 in extra time to seal their spot.
They're no reigning champions for no reason. I'm sure he's instilled the belief and the grit and the kind of never say die attitude into China as well.
South Korea thrashed Uzbekistan 6-0 in their quarter-final. A new star has emerged for the Melbourne Storm at fullback, replacing Ryan Pappenhausen. 3 tries to Suafar Lungo rescued the Storm in the second half to secure a 46-20 win to remain unbeaten from their opening 2 games. Incredible weekend of footy.
Yeah.
Can we take a breath? Stephen King and Ross Lyon and the Saints, and then the Blues. North Melbourne.
Be rocking
so
down
many storylines.
Street.
And Tuesday night will be big, or whenever the tribunal is for Scott Pendlebury. I just reckon he gets the all clear.
I like how Mitch called it, the good bloke clause. Theo, thanks. A brave little boy battling a rare eye condition is living life to the full again thanks to the doctors at the Royal Children's Hospital.
He had cataracts in both eyes, something associated with older Australians, but for a 4-year-old, it's 1 in 10,000.
Like most 4-year-old boys, little Archie is always on the go.
We've got room to fit all of them, do you think? We do, okay.
But lately his parents could see something was wrong.
Really clumsy and things that, there's no object there, but he manages to trip over things and hurts himself.
He would squint and then we thought he just had a grumpy face, but then he realised that he couldn't see properly.
Tests revealed Archie had cataracts in both his eyes.
Cataracts we think of as a elderly person's disease.
It's rare in young people, affecting only 1 in 10,000 children.
A cataract, to explain, is a cloudy lens of the eye, so the eye doesn't focus as well as it should.
Archie's case was so severe he could hardly see. His only option was surgery.
Got an Archie all-round.
When we do cataract surgery, we remove the lens of the eye and place in a new lens.
Whenever you see a child asleep or scared or in pain, it's not very, very nice, but the nurses were fabulous.
His surgery went very successfully. I was very pleased with the clarity that I could see in the eye after the cataract was removed, and the new lens was sitting in beautiful position, ready to start to give him a better view of the world.
It was such a painless experience that he was out riding his scooter that night.
It will take a month for his eye to heal and adjust to the new lens. When that happens, surgeons will operate on his other eye.
He should be able to see, he should be able to play sports, tennis, golf, things that have a small object flying around.
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
Tyra returns now with the forecast, and Tyra, it was a warm one.
Yes, Mike, temperatures were above average, but we are expecting a big change tomorrow to start our working week. I have all of those details in your forecast next.
The extreme online beauty obsession, taking body modification to the next level.
This is really the era of social media influencers.
The special report every parent needs to see.
It's not just with their daughters, they might need to speak to their sons.
7 News at 6.
Welcome back to St Kilda tonight. Mostly sunny today for the most part, but there was a sea breeze which pushed into Bayside areas, and that kept the temperature quite cool. Elsewhere has been warm though. 12 degrees was the overnight low in the city, and it got to 26.2, so a few degrees above our March average. Okay, let's take a look at what happened around your suburb today. Cloud developed later this afternoon, but it was nice and sunny for the most part, 32 degrees in Viewbank, while the city was in the mid-20s. Further out, patches of fog in the south and the east today with isolated showers which developed about southern coasts this evening. Some hot temperatures across the north today with light winds and an afternoon coastal sea breeze. Mildura reached a top 35, Charlton 31 and 24 in Warrnambool. We still have a high pressure ridge over the south of Victoria today, but a broad low pressure trough has been developing over the west before lingering about the north of the state through till tomorrow, which will bring those showers. Around the country tomorrow, partly cloudy in Brisbane, 28 in Sydney 2. Canberra starts on 13, Adelaide showers 25, Hobart 20, Darwin storms 31 degrees and 31 in Perth.
Back home now, rainfall will slowly reach the state tomorrow, coming from the southwest and extending statewide throughout the day. There is the possibility of thunderstorms from Echuca through to the Snowy Mountains tomorrow afternoon and also in the northeast on Tuesday morning. Closer in, a lot more cloud about tomorrow, and we're likely to see a light sprinkle from about 10 a.m. around the city before showers start to pick up midday and into the afternoon. Cooler temperatures too, 22 in Point Cook. Looking ahead now, 22 is our top tomorrow with up to 15 millimetres forecast. 21 and showers remain in the morning Tuesday. Wednesday, 23, partly cloudy. 24 on Thursday and 15 is the low. 25 Friday, 24 Saturday and the sun returns. Sunday, 27, so we have some nice consistency towards the end of the week. But 22 is our top tomorrow with showers from midday. Mike and Karina.
Go and get yourself a pint of Guinness. Thank you, Tyra. And that's 7 News for your Sunday night. We'll have updates throughout the evening.
For now, from the 7 News team, take care and good night.